Hey guys, it's Hannah. Welcome back to my next DIY project, which is gonna be a coffee table makeover. So I found this adorable coffee table on the side of the street and I asked my husband to pick it up because I knew I could do a really cool makeover with it. So it's just a plain coffee table. It's got some cool kind of edging, but I'm gonna add a really cool and unique tabletop using penny tiles. So penny tiles are really trending right now. They're really popular, especially in bathrooms and laundry rooms, but this is gonna be a really neat way to bring penny tiles into your living room.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm a mom of 3 kids who taught herself how to DIY, and I'm here to show you how to make your house beautiful and function great for your family.
Okay, I've got my penny tiles that I ordered, and what you want to make sure when you order penny tiles is that you order black and white penny tiles in the same size. So an easy way to do that is just use the same manufacturer. So let me show you these tiles. For a second, they looked like they were gray, and I was like, oh no. Okay, so here's what I meant, that you want to get the tiles are like the same size, right? So that when I punch one of these out, then the other one can fit in. And you can see this is actually a little bit charcoal when you compare to like my black mat, but I think it's gonna be great for this project. So here's the table I found and I really like it, and I really like this kind of detailing. I think I used to have like a glass center there, but what I'm gonna have to do is either add like a whole piece of plywood on top or find something that is like this thickness that can just sit inside of there. Okay, so I have been hoarding shiplap, and this actually, luckily, it almost makes this flush here. So I think I can just cut my scrap shiplap to size.
If I didn't have this shiplap lying around, I would have just grabbed a piece of plywood from the hardware store, but luckily I did, so it just saves me a little bit of money. I noticed that one of my shiplap pieces fell through because I didn't have any edging on this side, so I just added a piece of 1x2 pine and I secured it with a brad nailer so that the shiplap had something to sit on.
Okay, now that I've got this little support bar attached, I'm gonna go ahead and attach all these planks, and so I'm gonna just attach these like here.
Of course, if you've already got a tabletop that's finished, like smooth, you can just skip all this stuff.
I'm super excited because I'm gonna start laying out the tiles. So I've got my tabletop set, and I'm not really sure if I'm gonna do like any flowers. I'm definitely gonna do like a black border, but I have to kind of like lay out the tiles first and see.
It's always a great idea to do a dry run with your tiles before you actually cut anything or put any type of adhesive down. This just gives you an idea of what you're working with.
Okay, so I've laid them all out. I am gonna need to cut, I have one extra tile mat left, so I'm gonna have to cut that and add it to the bottom. I also didn't realize that I will have to cut like half pennies here, but we will get there. But it looks really cute so far. Like I like the design. I think I'm gonna stain it as well first before I add the top.
I wanted to keep this kind of wood finish on the table, so I'm going to be using a gel stain. Now for a gel stain, you just need to rough up the table surface, so I'm using a P220 grit and just giving it a light sanding all around. This is my first time using a gel stain, but I'm choosing it because it's a bit more opaque, and I chose a color that's in a similar family, just without the red tones. I found that with a gel stain, you want to apply thin coats because it is kind of thick.
So I have a lot of streakiness here, so I think I'm just gonna go for like full coverage here, just to like get rid of some of that. So last night when I was trying to figure out the pattern for this, I actually realized that I can just cut out the black tiles and put them on top to figure out the pattern. It seems so obvious now. So you can just use like sharp scissors or an X-Acto knife, but I'm gonna have to cut these out anyways to put them into the pattern. So I will have to do this anyways, and this will help me actually figure out the pattern. But yeah, it's gonna be a little bit time consuming to get these all cut out. So some of them I'm actually gonna cut out into strips, and some of them I'm gonna cut out individually because like the strips you'll need to do anyways if you know, have like rows of the tiles, right? So like this. And then I'm just gonna put them here. I really like how this is coming out. I've taken a few pictures so I know once I like take the tiles off how this is gonna go. Now I am actually just wondering if I want to add some flowers to the middle, if I want to keep it more simple, or maybe some stars. So I'm gonna play around with that next. I finally figured out the pattern, and like it actually kind of like made my eyes see dots just because it took me so long, but I think it's really cute. This is the pattern. I think it's gonna be really cute. I didn't want to do any flowers, which is why I kept some of these diamond shapes instead. I'm gonna mark off the pattern of the tiles because remember, we have to remove all these white tiles underneath. So I'm gonna mark them with a Sharpie because I want to remove the white tiles before I actually glue them onto the table. Otherwise it will be a little bit harder.
So I'm marking every single tile that I'm going to remove with my Sharpie. My Instagram followers told me that you can remove Sharpie stains with either rubbing alcohol or nail polish remover if you want to use those tiles later.
I also labeled all of them on the top left corner, so this is tile number 8, just so that I would know when I lay them out again, like what order do they go in. To install the tile, I'm going to use Musslebound. So this is like an adhesive mat. We use this behind our kitchen backsplash, and in like 5 years, the tiles have not fallen off. Although I kind of wish they would because I'm like ready to change the tile. Anyways, this is really cool. So it's like sticky on one side and then you peel this side off and you stick the tiles on top. So I'm simply gonna stick it onto the tabletop and then we can put the tiles on top. So easy. Okay, so I'll just start in one corner. And this stuff is like, it's really great because there's like no mess. Like imagine using like tile adhesive. Oh, I hate that stuff. And then you can just cut it with either scissors or an X-Acto knife, just try and get it smooth.
If you've ever tiled before, you know how messy mortar can be and how you're always worried that it's gonna dry before you can get the tiles in the right spot. So this is really easy to use. It's literally like a sticker. You stick it onto your table and then when you're ready to tile, you peel off the top layer.
I'm gonna start popping out these tiles that I had marked. So I need to mark, like pop out all these white tiles where the black ones are gonna go. I still need to cut the tile sheet as well. I have to get the tile cutter from my brother's house because he's been storing it for me since our last project. Remember when we did the girls' bathroom? I have not touched tile since then, and that was like in 2020. Alright, so I've got a tile saw ready to go because I'm going to cut a few of my tiles. I don't have too many to cut, so it's not too bad. But the great thing about a tile saw is you're going to get a nice clean cut. So I'm going to add the guard, and that's going to make sure that every single tile is going to just like rub up right against this so we get a straight line. Okay, so one thing is that these tiles are quite small, so I'm just going to tape it so that they kind of go through the blade a little bit smoother. Well, some people might say it's not necessary, but I don't mind. And I can still see like the line through, so I'll just cut along this line.
Honestly, cutting these tiles was so much harder than I anticipated. Because they're so small, they kept lifting up. So you see that random piece of shiplap? Well, I was using that to press down on the tile saw to make sure that they didn't lift up. Even then, they did, and they were much more crooked than if you had just cut one large tile. It's the small tiles that made it difficult.
At the end, it was really hard to get the tiles to keep pushing through the tile saw. So you can see this one's too big, this one's too big, this one's too big. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop these off, okay? And then I have like these, right? This is like what I did cut off. And I can just take like these little half tiles and just find the ones that'll fit the right size and then just replace them. So that way I'm not trying to like cut this like random little tiny thing, you know? Guys, check this out. I laid out all the tiles and it looks so good.
I kind of think that in retrospect, I didn't need to use my tile saw. I maybe went a little bit overboard because not all the tiles got like a really nice clean cut. So I need to cut a few more actually. So I'm gonna use just the tile nippers and see if that works. Okay, let's see. Come back. Where is it? Oh wow, that's actually really good. You see? I got like 2 little perfect halves there, right? So look at this edge. That's what I got from my tile saw compared to this edge. So if you do this project, definitely skip the tile saw. Use the nippers instead. And then I just popped off the ugly jagged tiles to replace them. All right, I'm so excited. So I'm at the point where I can start taking the tiles off. And then I'm going to peel off 1 row of Musslebound at a time. So remember, this is like a double-sided sticker. So we'll just do 1 tile mat at a time. It's gonna be so good. Now you don't want to get your tiles mixed up, so make sure you are literally peeling 1 row at a time and then sticking them down. Musslebound is sticky, but it doesn't actually make like a bond until you press the tile down. So you do have some time to work with the tiles. You can peel them up and readjust them. And then once you press them down, that's when it's like a secure bond. All right, so I'm gonna use this. It says that it's meant for tile, so I think this will be good. It's got like a small little applicator tip as well. I'm just using this Gorilla Glue for the black tiles. Because there's already mesh on the table, the Musslebound won't stick to like another layer of tiles. It needs to be that the tiles are stuck directly on top of the Musslebound. So that's why this Gorilla Glue is really handy. Just using a little bit to stick the black tiles onto the table. Today was a huge day of tiling and it's done. So I'm gonna let everything set and then tomorrow we will grout. So I'm using a white grout to match with the tiles. I grouted this table exactly as I would with the floor, so I took my float and I tried to push the grout in at a 45-degree angle. You just want to work the grout into all the little cracks there. Let the grout sit for 30 minutes and then wipe it off using your sponge. Now you want to use clean water every single time, so either have 2 buckets or dump your water frequently so that your tiles get nice and clean. Don't let the grout sit there, otherwise it will harden and be impossible to clean. A little bit shocked because I'm out of grout. I use this size, 1 quart, and I guess because there's so many holes in the penny tile to fill, it ran out. So that's just like a little bit too bad. So I have to go get more to finish just a small section. So these are the tiles I did yesterday, and as you can see, they're like really clean. There's no haze. These are the ones from today. It's like the more you try and wipe them clean, they just get more dirty because like the grout just like wipes and wipes more. So I'm gonna let them dry for a little bit and then I'll come back maybe in like an hour or 2 and then try and clean them. Okay, this table is almost done. The last thing I have to do is add some trim. So if you see this edge here, it's just looking a little gnarly, so I got some trim, so we're just gonna place that on to kind of give it a finish and then we'll caulk it too. I got some simple trim from the hardware store and I'm cutting it on a bevel. This makes sure that you're gonna get a nice clean edge when you put all the corners together. And I did end up staining it again because I felt like that stain was just a little bit light, and then I used my pin nailer to attach it. The last step is to caulk this gap so that we can get a nice clean finish on the table. I'm going to be swapping out this table because it's just too low and it doesn't really fit the vibe of this room. Look how much better this penny tile table looks in this space. It adds elegance and class. I think it's really beautiful. I also love that the black tiles on the table pick up the black fireplace tiles too, so it helps to tie the space together. What do you think? Would you use penny tile on a table? I hope you love this project. It is such a cool budget project on this table I found in the trash. If you love this video, make sure to give it a subscribe and a like, and I'll see you next time for my next budget DIY.